All right, this is our honors video for topic 3. This is composition of functions. All right, so what this means is, or what it could be written like is g of f, okay? This means the same thing as g and then of f of x. It's saying the result of f when it goes through g. So we take our f of x, but we send it through our g function, okay? So what that means is, let me get some examples. If we have, for instance, f of x equals 2x plus 3, okay? And we're given g of x equals x squared. Okay, so we're given two different functions, the f function and the g function. We're going to look at this here. So g of f, which really means we're taking f of x and running it through g's formula. Okay, so what that means, or what that's going to look like, is we are going to take our f of x, which is this, okay? So 2x plus 3, that's our f of x, and we're going to put it inside of this x squared. So we're going to take this whole piece and we're going to plug it in x, okay? So whatever's in here is going to get squared. So we're going to take 2x plus 3. We just plug that in for our x value. And now we're going to square that x value. Alrighty. Now, we could work this out. I'm not going to right now because that's for a later topic, but for now we're just going to leave it like this. We can also go the other way. So still using these two functions, this time I'm going to do f of g. Okay, which means my g function is going to go inside my f function. Okay, so my g function, x squared, is going to go inside my 2x plus 3. Okay, we're going to plug into the x. So I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to plug in my g into the x. So I'm going to plug in my g into that x, and then I'm going to finish with this. That can be simplified to 2x squared plus 3. So usually we simplify this one. We can simplify. We just need to, at this point, think of distributive property. If you think of distributive property, you'll be able to do this. I'm not real concerned right now because, like I said, that will be a later date. All right, so let's look at a few more examples. In some algebra books, this is an Algebra 1 topic. In some, it has moved to Algebra 2. All right, so we're going to look at, let me get some good ones here. If f of x equals 3x plus 1, okay, and g of x equals x squared. So kind of similar again, okay? We're going to find f of g of x, okay? That just means our g of x is going to be plugged inside our f of x. Okay, so our g of x, our x squared, is going to be plugged inside the x term. So here is the x term. Okay, so here's 3 and our x term plus 1. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in that x squared into that. Okay, that gives us 3x squared plus 1. Okay, we could also do it the other way, but we've already, like I said, this one's very similar. Let's see here. Looking for another example we could try out. Here's one. Okay, let's look at if f of x equals 2x and g of x equals x plus 1. Okay, we're going to find f of g of x. Okay, now you can write it either way, this way or f of g of x. Either way, it shows up in books both of these ways, so you just have to make sure you're comfortable with it. So what we're going to do is our g of x is this x plus 1. So we're going to plug in for the x, x plus 1. So we have 2, and there's our x term. But for the x term, we're plugging in x plus 1. Okay. Now, we do have to remember to do distributive property here. Okay, just like we've done previously. So that is going to give us 2x plus 2. Okay. Now, they could also ask you to solve for that. So let's say, I'm going to continue with this problem. Let's say f of g, but instead of x, I want you to plug in 1. Okay, so now what we do, we've already done the f of g of x. We found it was this, okay? But in place of the x, we're going to fill in the 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. So we can also solve these for an actual number. Okay. So there's a lot of different things we can do with these. Don't want to do, let's try this one. So one last one. This one's a little bit more involved because there are 3 pieces here. So if f of x equals x, g of x equals 2x, and h of x equals 3x. Okay, so 3 different pieces this time. I want to find f of g of h. Okay. So what I'm going to start with is f of g of h of x. That gives me the g, but in place of the h of x, I put 3x. Okay. Now I'm going to plug that 3x into the g of x. So this would be 2 times the x, which I'm plugging in here, which is 3 of x. That gives me f of 2 times 3, 6x. Okay? Or let's put the parentheses around that. We know how to do that. F, and it's just, so f of 6x is just going to equal our x, but our x is now 6x. Okay, so a little bit more involved, but still the same idea. All right, this is your honors work for topic 3.